What's up? What's up? Better late than never, right? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz podcast, coming to you nighttime edition. Normally in the mornings, but we got basketball going on, Faith in Birmingham, and the schedule it's kind of all over the place right now. So we're coming on here live reaction show to Auburn's blowout victory over Ole Miss, 106-76, dominating fashion right out of the gate. This Auburn team took it to Ole Miss. Of course, they allowed them to come back a little bit, closed the gap there before halftime, and but then came back out strong and finished. And I know we're going to dive into a lot of different things in this game. But, you and I had talked about, and we'll get to some of our partners here on the program because we couldn't do it without them. So I want to just stop and do that right now. Sensa Green for air that's cool and clean, calling Sensa Green, the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama. Proud partners of Auburn Athletics and the Auburn Blitz podcast. Scout Program Management, what great people. I mean, Scout Program Management, glad to have them on board here as partners on the Auburn Blitz podcast, a full construction management firm that handles all your jobs from start to finish. And we can't say enough about the great people, Sloan, Jay, Charles, everybody involved, just awesome people. You had a chance to meet them, Faith, so glad that you were able to do that. And then Bunkers in downtown Auburn, even filled them in on where Bunkers is. And if you don't know where Bunkers is, you need to figure it out because they've got great food, great atmosphere. Their bar is top notch. And then they're also building a new bar. And then you can go in there and you can shame people with your golf skills, Faith, and show people how good you are at simulated golf. So we'll name some other partners here in just a minute. I'm going to dive right into this podcast since it is a little after 10 o'clock, and it is a big win for Auburn. Auburn's got 3 games left, and they're sitting here at the top of the conference with a 2-game lead over Alabama. And you and I talked the last week or so about how Auburn really hadn't played sharp. You look at since Alabama, the Arkansas game, Arkansas came back, took a lead late in that game, and we were able to answer and win that game. And then you and I were at the Georgia game on Saturday, and that was about as dead a first half as I could remember. No energy. Really took a spark there from a scrum in the second half to kind of rejuvenate Auburn. They made some adjustments on the zone defense that Georgia was playing and ended up putting 53 on the board in the second half and ended up winning that game by double digits. But nevertheless, we were all a little concerned that maybe Auburn was hitting a wall after that big win against Alabama. Well, they answered that tonight, put up the most points of the season, 106 to 76 win over Ole Miss. And this is a good Ole Miss team. I mean, let's just be honest. This was a huge win a few weeks ago when we went to Oxford. A little concerned that this being at home, that they might come back. Padula ate us up last time at 29. But this is a huge win, and I'm so glad to see the offense come back. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, you and I, Brett. But obviously coming out of the gate, shooting well is important, but sometimes it doesn't matter if we do that. It'll come back and teams will creep back up on us.
Well, they did tonight. It's always it's Auburn, man.
It's the Auburn fashion, if you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, tonight we went and shot 11 for 21 3-pointers when Ole Miss only shot 5 for 14. The defense was outstanding, how they were only able to get off 14 3-point shots. Now, 2-pointers, they 51. They went 24 for 51.
And shot 47%. That's pretty doggone good on the road.
But that's not going to be good enough to beat this Auburn team when we shot 34 for 57 also inside and 11 for 21 3-pointers. And we just outshot them when it came to the 3-pointers, especially, but our defense was just able to kind of shut them down outside the arc.
Yeah, I always say the magic number for Auburn's 10 from outside, and they had 11 and shot it at 52.4% rate, which is outstanding. And, I think Auburn made their first 5 or 6 shots of the game. And Ole Miss, I think they made their first 4 before they missed. I mean, both teams came out of the gate hot, like it was going to be a game where it took a lot of points to win, and it ended up taking a lot of points to win. And again, the biggest thing I'm taking away from this is the offense return tonight. Chad Baker-Mazara was a little bit doubtful for this game. You and I talked about that earlier here in Birmingham, and not only did he come out, I think he scored the first 5 points of the game, or at least had 5 quick points. I know he made the first 3, and really never looked back. He was 8 of 12, shooting 4 or 5 from outside, scored 22 points. But Janai Broome, once again, he was a rebound shy of a double-double, but 7 of 12, 24 points. He did what Janai Broome does. And look, I know we're biased on here, but Janai Broome's the player of the year, and especially if Auburn finishes this schedule. We got a daunting trip ahead of us in Kentucky on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and we haven't won there since 88. I know we've been saying 87, but just listen to Coach Pearl in the press conference, and it's been since 88 since we won, I guess, when John Kaler hit that 3. And reporter asked him, why is it so tough to win in Kentucky? And, of course, tradition, and it's a huge building, Rupp Arena. It's massive, and, when they have a team that comes in there that's rarely ahead of them historically, I mean, normally they're the higher-ranked team, but, we'll have a bullseye on our back, and, Kentucky's had a roller coaster season, and they would love nothing but to continue to wipe up the floor with Auburn. Auburn's Final Four team struggled in Rupp Arena, if you'll remember. We just don't play well there. And we've had our doors blown off, and we've had some really good teams go up there to Kentucky, and we have just not been competitive. I don't think that's how it's going to be Saturday, Faith. I don't. I really think this team it's got too much moxie about it. It has not, obviously, only lost a couple of games this year to Florida and Duke, but I don't think this team's going to get blown out by anybody, no matter where they go. So I'm excited for the game on Saturday, but I wanted to see a rejuvenation in offense before we hit the road for these next 2 games because, hey, Texas A&M lost tonight. You and I talked about that. Vanderbilt, you better not sleep on Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt knocked them off, and so we got Texas and Arkansas going on in the background here. But I think that Auburn's poised to get a couple of big wins on the road and then have that conference locked up going into the Alabama game because Alabama trails by 2. And, I think if Auburn wins those next – I think if Auburn beats Kentucky, it's going to make it extremely tough for Alabama. Alabama's still got Florida. We'll go through that. We'll go through the standings here in a minute. But I just think not only do we want to break this curse on Kentucky in Rupp Arena, but it's a monumental opportunity for Auburn to take one step closer and really make it impossible for somebody to come back and knock them out of first place. So just with 3 games left for everybody, after tonight's actions complete, Auburn sits at top 14-1, Alabama 12-3, and then Florida after that huge loss for them on the road to Georgia last night. You and I were talking about that. That was monstrositous. And Jason Caldwell and us talked about that on Monday, and he said you better watch that game because it's an old coach welcoming his team back in where he used to coach, and there's going to be some emotion. And you talk about a hot start. And Georgia blistered them. And Florida came back and took a lead with 1 minute, but they were able to finish it. Blue Cane hit a big 3 to get the lead back. But that was such a huge help for Auburn with Florida because I thought they had the easiest schedule, Faith, of all three of us coming down the stretch.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that so many times, but having Georgia win that game and us having just beat Georgia, I feel like makes us kind of not get kind of the playing field evened out with us losing against Florida, because I know that's not how it works, but just kind of it makes us look really good right now too, even though we are the number one team. Going into go ahead.
Well, we hear Carl Ravage. He called the game tonight, and he's an enamorization with Alabama and Florida, and just seems like he's always giving everybody praise other than Auburn. And he called the Alabama game last night, and they handled business against Mississippi State. They destroyed Mississippi State, but I mean, Florida is 11-4, and they're great. And I don't like Florida, and I don't like playing them, and I don't want to play them again. But they've lost 4 games in conference, and we've lost 1. So it's time to shut down the talk of they beat us head to head, but you can't go through this conference undefeated. And they came in and they did what they needed to do in Neville Arena and won the game. So tip of the hat, but that's one game. The body of work, Auburn's clearly a better team. So
there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, all the prognosticators and announcers can go take a hike as far as I'm concerned when it comes to that. So Alabama's still an issue. They've got a tough schedule ahead of them, no doubt about it. But they've been putting up massive points since they played us, and they put 85 up against us, which is nothing to that's no slouch effort. But they put 110 against Missouri, 96, or they put 98 up against Missouri, put 96 up on Kentucky, and scored 111 against Mississippi State. So their offense has turned the corner, and Mark Sears is really playing well. Now they've got Tennessee on the road at 3:00 on Saturday. That's a 6 versus 5 matchup. Then they've got Florida. Then they've got Auburn. That is a hellacious finish for Alabama. And if they win out, I mean, tip your hat, because they're playing the number 5 team, the number 3 team, and the number 1 team to close out the regular season. So none of us like Alabama, but you got to tip your hat there. That is a brutal end to the season for Alabama.
Yeah, that's brutal. That sucks for them.
Yep.
I just can't stand Alabama. Boo-hoo. Well, boo-hoo.
And it's a tough – and you don't know what your draw is going to be from one year to the next. But, when you look at Auburn's final 3 games, they're not easy either. Who would have thought going to Rupp Arena and going to Texas A&M and then ending with the arch rival, which has clearly been, to me, the second best team in this league to Auburn this year. That's not an easy route either. Nobody's saying that's easy at all. So,
well, if you look at it and you say Auburn hasn't won at Rupp Arena since 1988, which is 15 years since before I was born.
Don't bring why do you have to keep bringing the age thing up?
I'm sorry.
I think you're starting to do that on purpose.
Wait, I think I might have done my math wrong, but that's not the point here.
Nobody's judging here. It's late.
Yeah, now I feel like 37 years ago. Okay, so my math was right. Yep. But what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, wait. Oh, yeah, so 30.
Somebody needs to take some ADD medicine.
It's 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
Of course, I'm all the way all over.
Now we do this at 8 o'clock in the morning. So
I know. But okay, so if remember that time that you said, somebody got and woke up 20 years from now.
Yes.
You heard that Auburn was selling out and camping and all that kind of stuff. And you would think that going into Rupp Arena is, just Alabama has a tough end of the year schedule. Boohoo for them, whatever. But going there, that we're in a curse right now. This is
like the LSU curse in football until Auburn went down there and Bo Nix just played out of his mind and ended that curse that was going on.
I need Janai Broom to pull a Bo Nix here.
And he can. He
will. He will. There's a lot on the line. At dinner tonight, you heard there's some little boys who have been to every single close Auburn game.
The Iron Bowls.
They've lost. This is the time.
There needs to be some hope out there for sure.
For the kids.
Absolutely, for the kids, for the young kids. So
I'm a kid too. Okay, think of me in here. It needs to come from here for me too.
Nobody's feeling sympathy for you. All right, here we go. Kentucky. Let's look at them. Kind of do a fast forward. Let's finish up with Ole Miss, and then we'll fast forward, and we'll not have a podcast tomorrow because we have a busy day here in Birmingham. With high school basketball. By the way, some unbelievable games today here in Birmingham. Unreal. Just started off with a banger with Park Crossing and Hazel Green, but we won't get off track. But anyway, the basketball up here has been great. And if you look at Auburn, the distribution, 24 for Broome, 22 for Chad Baker, 13 apiece for Miles and Denver, 13 for Cheney. And it was good to see Jaheim Hudson get double-digit minutes. And then Ja'Kai Howard with 6 minutes, and he made the most of them. Had 6 points, 2 for 2 from outside. Bench went crazy when he made those shots. Chris Moore got his normal 8. Even a J.P. Pegues sighting. Of course, he didn't shoot the basketball. He's just not going to. I mean, I do not know what happened to him. It's really sad. He was a tremendous player. Auburn got him out of the portal, and it looked like he was going to be a guy that really was a major part of this team, and he's been a non-factor. But here's the other kicker, Todd Pettiford. 18 minutes, only 4 points. He only shot it 5 times and 0 for 2 from outside. He's had a little bit of a slump here lately. So need to get Tahad going. But, look, you're not going to argue when you look up and you got how many in double figures? 5 players that ended up in double figures for Auburn tonight. So It was an all-around good effort.
Yep, and we were a little bit business occupied during some of the games, so we weren't able to watch the whole thing. But looking down, again, the defense is just it's amazing to watch. And I feel like every time we did look down and have a chance to watch the game for a second, it was if we go down there and score and ball's back on the other side of the court, the defense is just always – it was on tonight on both sides of the court, offense and defense. But
Jamin Brakefield, how many years has he been at Ole Miss? I mean, I think he was at Ole Miss when Auburn won at Rupp Arena last time in 1988. Hopefully this is the last time we'll see him. Now, he had 13 points, but he was 4 for 4. I mean, I'm just tired of seeing that guy. He's a good player, and he feels like he's been there an eternity. But Padula was a guy that we were all concerned with. You kept saying –
I told you, once that defense can shut him down –
well, they did.
He's able to get
14 points. I mean, he had a good night, but not near enough. I mean, you look at their guys in double digits, Dia with 11, Padula 14, Murrell with 12, along with Davis with 12, and Brakefield with 13. All our guys had a couple guys in the 20 range. So just an overall great effort. Not going to continue to belabor the point, but it was a great win. Auburn only has 1 game left at home in this great season, and it's Alabama on March the 8th. They've got 2 very important road games in between then. They've got Kentucky coming up Saturday, and then Texas A&M, and then Alabama on that Saturday to end the regular season. But Auburn really has positioned itself to win this league in what may be the best version of the SEC that we've ever seen. I mean, it's you look at the rankings and you see where all of these teams are ranked and have been ranked throughout the season. I mean, it is just one top-notch team after another and so heavily laden with top 25 teams. Auburn's number 1, Florida's 3, Alabama's 6, Tennessee's 5, Texas A&M is 12, Missouri 14, Kentucky 17, Mississippi State is 24. Ole Miss could easily be ranked, sitting there at 19-9, and have been ranked. Look at Vanderbilt; they're now 19-9 and 7-8, and they've got some extremely impressive wins on their schedule now. And then Arkansas and Texas are in overtime right now. That game's still going on. So a little bit late here for the conclusion of this one, and it's close. I mean, it is really, really tight right now in overtime. So this is a brutal league. I mean, Florida proved if you're not on your A game, you get off to a rough start. You can go to a team like Georgia that's 5-10 in the league, and you can get beat. And that's what happened to them. So not taking anybody for granted, not that we're going to take anybody for granted, but Kentucky sitting here with a 18-9 mark would love nothing more than to knock Auburn off on Saturday and, again, continue that streak that seems like it goes on forever. They're in a battle with Oklahoma right now, and they're up 83. And Kentucky just lost.
No, they just won.
They just won. Okay, so Oklahoma just lost.
Yeah,
it was
they just lost.
83 to 82 right there. So coming down the stretch. So Kentucky goes on the road and squeaks out a win. So they'll have a little momentum coming back home. And then they end with LSU, which at home, again, not a give me, but you should win that game at home if you're Kentucky. And then Missouri on the road to end the season for them, which will be really, really tough. So now you have it. That's where we are. Anything else you want to add before we kind of close things out here tonight? We just wanted to jump on because we weren't able to get on this morning, and we won't be able to get on tomorrow, and kind of missed everybody. So we were glad to be back on tonight, do a little post-game review. Good to hear Coach Pearl's comments, and again, several things to work on. Still fouling too much. That's something that Auburn needs to continue to work on, Faith. And but overall, it was a great effort at home, and one of our better performances.
No, absolutely. And like I said, we were doing some stuff, and so we weren't able to watch the whole thing. But again, being able to look down and see what was going on, it was, except for that one time where we were like, oh, this is the Auburn way that's happening right now. But other than that, it was nice to be able to look down and see, oh, we're at a comfortable spot. I feel like I can look away now and keep doing that. Oh my gosh. But I'm glad that, we were able to watch what we did, and I know I'll go back and watch some more of it too, but looking forward to Saturday. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Just looking at the foul column, Broome with 4. With 1, Dylan Carville with 4. Chad Baker had 3. Chaney had 4. Jaheim had 3. Got to stay, and it's almost a chronic problem for Chaney Johnson. And he's such a key part of what we do. He had 13 points. He was 5 of 6, very efficient. But again, there he is in foul trouble. And so we saw him get in foul trouble against Georgia, and it's been a problem. And Coach Pearl addressed that, and so hopefully continue to work on that, and he can get better in that category. But all right, everybody, been fun. huge win for Auburn tonight. They add to their or maintain that 2-game lead, and they added a game against Florida, which was huge, which pretty much I'm not going to say it's going to eliminate them, but it's pretty doggone close. But Alabama, a rough road. If Auburn can win on Saturday and Alabama were to lose against Tennessee on the road, that would pretty much wrap it up. That would be 2 teams with 3 games back with 2 games left, and it's impossible at that point. So that's how big Saturday is all the way around. Get a win. Maybe Alabama loses. It doesn't matter anymore with Florida. If you win that game, you pretty much lock down the conference at that point. Now, again, that doesn't mean you just rest on your hands and don't take Texas A&M serious and not obviously want to win that last Iron Bowl, because you heard Coach Pearl say, I want to sweep. I don't want to draw. Going there and then letting them come here is a draw, and that's no good. And so you want to sweep, and you want to end on a high note, and you want to end, man, how unbelievable if Auburn makes this run. We talked about, 12, 13 wins, a lot of times wins this league. We even upped it to 14, and that's where Auburn is right now. But if Auburn were to somehow, with the level of difficulty of this conference, Faith, to win this league and only lose 1 game, it's one of the best teams in college basketball history.
I don't want to say
we're going to look back on this season like, look, we're in the moment right now, which is great. We just kind of move from one game to the next. But we're going to look back and we're going to go, how damn good was that season? And I hope we end on a high note in March and not just end on a high note here in the SEC. But we're going to look back and go, that was an unbelievable team to cover.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't want to say that it's impossible for us to win the next last stretch of these games, because it is fully possible for this team. And it is this would be what I think right now would be the team to win these next games. And hopefully win the conference, and then, get a good spot in March Madness and, do all those kind of things. But I don't want to jinx it or anything.
Yeah, don't jinx it. And obviously a lot of people are in the bed at 10:30, so they'll catch this tomorrow. A lot of people will tune in and catch it tomorrow, which is great. But I think this is the best 15-game start for Auburn in Auburn history. I think this is the best, through 15 games. Auburn's 14-1. It's the best ever in school history. And if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, but I think I'm right. It's kind of like that Nick Saban commercial. It's like that Nick Saban commercial. And she looks at him and goes, I think you're right. He goes, yeah, I know I'm right. So
yeah, you're never wrong, Brett.
Right. I hope. Yeah. No, I wish that were the case, but that is far from the truth. But I do think I'm right on this. And if I'm wrong, I'll eat my words. But great start for Auburn, and got to finish, though. Got to finish. A lot of basketball left to play. Would love to hang that regular season banner and then get that, and, all the way all the way to the quarterfinals, which they're going to get as one of the top 4 seeds. But you want to be the number 1 seed, and then that way you've only got to win 3 games to win the SEC tournament at that point. So makes it a lot better, Faith. Auburn in good position. Great effort, man. Nothing but tip of the hat tonight. Ole Miss clawed back in that game, but Auburn held them off and then ran away with it in the second half. And hopefully everybody's getting back healthy. Janai Broome looks dang near 100%. And
no doubt about that.
Chad Baker, with having to take an IV or whatever, obviously performed at an extremely high level. Want to thank Sure Shot in Alexander City, selling, trade, new and used firearms. They have your hunting apparel, turkey season right around the corner. Make sure you call on them at 256-329-0080. Whatever gun that you're looking for, handgun or long gun, call Scott Watson. He'll take care of you. But all my stuff comes from Sure Shot. You know I love the outdoors, and it's the place to go for all of your outdoor needs. And then Oliver Ross, go follow them on Instagram and on Facebook. Book them for your next party or gathering. They'll send out licensed and certified bartenders to handle your party, and it will be done in a first-class manner. So make sure you call on Oliver Ross for your next function, whether it be a private party at your house or a big function where you got 500 plus people. They'll come and handle it. And they have served at a lot of frat parties, sorority parties, Auburn University functions on campus. They'll take care of you there at Oliver Ross. And again, we can't do it without obviously Sense of Green and Scout. Great seeing those guys tonight. Great people. Scout Program Management, specializing in educational construction projects and bunkers, one of our favorite places in Auburn, Alabama, or really one of our favorite places, period. Not just in Auburn, but one of our favorite places, period, to go hang out. Faith, been a fun, long day for both of us.
Yes, it has. Long day. You were on the road at 5:45 this morning.
Stupid traffic. They can have this place, Birmingham. It doesn't matter how fast you get on the road. To wake up and bless everybody's heart that watches us up in Birmingham, if you have to commute in, that's brutal. So I don't know how I tip my hat to you on what you do every day in traffic for sure. All right, I got plenty of work left to do tonight before I hit the bed. Got 3 games in the morning. Back on the HSA network for TV and radio. We got a lot of compliments today. We appreciate all that. We love it. Going to have some 7A action in the morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, we'll be in some state championship games in 1A. Start crowning some state champions tomorrow afternoon. So big time day today for everybody. Glad that you joined us out there. The few of you that actually tuned in live tonight after 10 o'clock. I know a lot of you in the bed. You'll catch it in the morning. We hope you do. And no podcast for us tomorrow, but we'll be back with you on Friday, and we'll see what kind of mood Faith's in on Friday morning. She's going to be in for a challenge. I won't say anymore.
Gosh, I just forgot about that. Why'd you remind me?
I'm not going into detail. So she'll get paid back for the sleeping in that she got to do this week. We'll see. I'll just leave it at that.
I'll be there.
You'll be there with bells on. We'll see that. We'll see. All right. Well, everybody have a great night. Again, big win. Auburn over Ole Miss 106-76. And big War Eagle, everybody.
War Eagle.